So hopefully on TikTok you can hear me. Good morning, folks, and welcome to Mark's Morning of Business Check-in. As this is Wednesday, the 10th of February at 7:30, not 10:30, 7:30. I hope you can hear me on TikTok, folks. I have a new mic, so if someone can give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me. That's great. I know you can hear me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. So if someone can give me a thumbs up there, I'd really appreciate it. Just on TikTok to say you can hear me. The weather this morning in Dublin, it says it's 7 degrees. It feels like 2. So that's 2. In London it's 7, and Paris is 7. As I said, the morning's getting much brighter, which is fantastic. But that is not your weather forecast. That is not your weather forecast. So thanks very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I want to talk about something this morning. If you're working for yourself or you're running a company, one of the hardest things to do is to build up a team around yourself. I want to tell you a little story from my book, You Need a Neck Like a Jockey's Bollocks, Be an Entrepreneur, which is available on my mindseyeducation.com site for sale and on Amazon. Many years ago, when I used to work at the car ferries, when we used to dock in Holyhead, a few of us, like the staff, would maybe go ashore, just walk off the car deck for a few minutes, just to stretch our legs and all that, because a lot of us will have been up since 6 o'clock in the morning, and we've done the shift either to Holyhead, or we've been finished since 12 o'clock, and we could go back to bed and get back up around 4, and we're on then from 4 till midnight. But we used to always, as soon as we dock, or half an hour after we dock and all the passengers are gone, we'd go for a walk off the car deck. And one day, myself and 3 other lads, stewards from the car, from the ship, we went for a walk off the car deck. I always remember there was myself, there was Gary, there was Matty, and there was one other chap, I'm trying to remember his name now. And we all had our uniforms on. We're saying to be an eyeline, our white shirts, our navy jackets, our navy trousers. We had our uniforms on, going for a walk, because we were starting work in about 35, 40 minutes later. And as we walked off the ship, a little bit past the car deck, there was 3 or 4 lads hanging around, just past the fencing line. We used to go past the fencing line. Sometimes we walk down to a local shop for a cup of coffee, on a snack or something. They made some remarks to us, not nice remarks, and because we were from Dublin. So they made some remarks, and because we were in a uniform, and we made 1 or 2 remarks back to them, basically to get lost, and we're just going for a bar of chocolate or something like that. And then they made more remarks and more remarks that we didn't like. And I said to one of them, I said, you want to take that back, otherwise you want to be careful in what you're saying. And he said, why? So what are you going to do about it? I said, myself and my friends can do a lot about it. And he said, right, really? What friends? And because the 3 of them had stood in front of me now, and I turned around, and my 3 friends were gone running back down the car there into the compound, back towards the ship, and I was left there on my own. Of course, I turned around and ran as well. But that's all about teamwork, and I tell that story in my new book. It's about teamwork. It's trying to find the right staff to work with you, and the right team to work with you. I remember when we had bought Indigo many years ago, myself and the then managing director were looking for a new sales director, and we heard of someone in the industry that was doing extremely well. I was supposed to be well liked, so we brought this person for a meal in a restaurant and had a chat about what we were looking for and what we wanted to offer and where we wanted to bring the business. And this person was all, yes, oh, that sounds great. And they could do all this, and they could help us with the corporate sales, because we were very weak in corporate sales. We were extremely weak. At that stage, Indigo was a domestic company looking after domestic people, buying domestic email addresses. But we wanted to get to where the real money was, which is the corporate work, because the domestic business was only worth €100 per customer a year to us, where the commercial business could be worth thousands of pounds to us per year per customer. So this person, liked everything, and I remember myself and the MD going back to the office it was late and saying, yeah, I think that's the right person for us. Yeah, yeah. So we offered that person a job. And very quickly, I say within about 2 or 3 months, we realized that person was the wrong person through no fault of their own. That person was the wrong person for the company. They didn't fit in with the culture that we're trying to develop. They didn't fit in with the sales ethos. They didn't fit in how they spoke to people and how they treated people. They just did not fit in with the company. And that was a problem for us because we are moving fast. We're trying to grow the corporate business fast and we're trying to get out there and win this business before other people did. We had other people like Digicel and other companies that Dennis O'Brien had and IOL. They were all coming in chasing the corporate business as well. So we had to keep moving fast. The challenge was now we had someone running our sales who didn't fit with us. And it cost us about 6 months' wages to negotiate an exit package for that person to go, because we realized that person wasn't the right person. If anyone on TikTok can just put that thumbs up if they can hear me with my new mic, I'd appreciate it. So we negotiated 6 months' pay, and that person went. And it wasn't that person's fault. It was our fault. In recruiting someone to run our sales department, we had just taken other people's word for it, that they were doing really well in other companies. But we didn't have enough interviews with the person to really see would they fit with our culture. We didn't have enough cup of coffees. We didn't spend enough time with that person. We didn't bring that person into the company even for a few hours to walk around and show them who we were, because we were trying to be secretive of who we were bringing in. We didn't want people in the industry to know who we were appointing. And because it was a big position, it was a big pay as well. So there's a whole big package around it. And some people were surprised that this person joined our company, coming from a completely corporate background. And we were, as I said, seen as domestic. But there was a lot of opportunities there for this person to grow with the business and grow with us and do really well out of it. But we got it wrong. That person didn't get it wrong, because that person was looking for the next opportunity, the next challenge, the next company that they would join that maybe would enhance their career, enhance their experience. We didn't give them that. We got it wrong. And that's why it's very, very, you have to be very, very careful on looking for the right and building the right team. So, and just to say, we didn't get it wrong once. We got it wrong twice. We got it wrong twice before we decided that we found a salesperson that worked really well, right? And maybe the reason we got it wrong twice was because we're in a new industry and we didn't have the right contacts in that industry to check out people's background and make inquiries, that we were relying on CVs and relying on one or two chats and other people's recommendations who were not in that industry as well, right? Maybe that was what we got wrong, but we got it wrong. And we got it wrong for a crucial part of the operation, to the extent that I was running the corporate sales as well as the retail sales. And we felt that was the way to go. And until we found the right person. And it took us a while to find the right person. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're running your own business, or you're running a company on behalf of someone, you need to be very careful on who you pick for your team and who you get to join you. Especially when you're a small company. It was okay, it wasn't okay, but we had resources to pay 6 months' wages, which was a significant amount of money for us at the time, because cash was very tight. But we had to pay because this person couldn't stay within the company. It was too damaging for us and for them. It wasn't working out. Neither of us were happy. But if you're a very small company with a limited amount of money, you need to make sure you get the right person. You need to have a few interviews in different circumstances. In other words, you need to bring that person in, maybe to meet with you only first, and then maybe meet with a HR director, and then maybe meet with one or two other members of the board or other members of your management team to get feedback from different people on how they think that person is going to fit in with your company. And that's important. I'm just taking a drink of my magic water. It's not green tea. So it's important that you do your checks. Because when you're a small company, if you make that mistake, not everybody will do what we do and move quickly to move that person on and to make us, and for us to move that person on so that we have space for someone else to come in to find the right person. Not everyone has that, will do that type of stuff. I'm just putting the banners on. Not everyone will do that. So just remember that. Not everyone is going to do that. And if you're a small company, you may not have the resources or the money or the time. There's an awful lot of people out there who I meet who have certain people on the management team and they will say, well, they're not great, but it's the best we could do. It's not the best you could do. You're just putting up with someone who is not fitting into your culture. You're putting up with someone who is not delivering results the way you thought you would. You're putting up with someone who is wrong for you, for your business, and your whole team. And because if you get someone that's wrong, the balance of the management team will start to wobble. Because people will start to question your judgment because you're the one that's hired this senior person within the company. But also the other people on the management team may feel they're now being undervalued or that the work that they're doing is now undervalued in the sense that they're taking up a lot of the slack. And if it's a crucial role, like a sales role, that if the business is not coming in, it affects the marketing department, affects the accounts department, affects every department because you're not acting. The management team should act as one entity. They should act as a group of people in the interest of the company. And if that isn't happening, cracks will start to appear. And cracks will start to appear in ways where other members of your management team may start to leave because they feel that the person you've taken on board to join your team and to join your management team is wrong, disruptive, and they don't like working with them. So they decide that they need to move on to someplace else that gives them the opportunities they want. And that probably will not suit you because you don't want the people on your management team who are working for you, who are bringing in the business, who are bringing in the clients, who are bringing in the opportunities to leave. You want them to stay on board. You want them to stay with you. And this doesn't just go for management teams. This goes for project teams within a company, other teams that may have special projects, are looking after special roles within the company. This is also departments, HR department, sales department, the marketing department, the accounts department. All these departments are made up of teams. And the only way all these teams work effectively for the whole company is that they all work together and they all understand who's leading the team and they all understand their roles within the team and that they all understand what they have to bring to the team. And if one of them decides, well, that's not what they really want to do and they feel they should be doing something else, the team does start to wobble and you do start to get negative feedback and you do start to get people leaving and taking up and leaving the company. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. So don't be like me on the car deck in Holyhead, looking around, expecting my 3 friends to be there supporting me when I squared up to these 3 people who are being, I'd say, extremely rude, be nice to myself and my culture. So don't be like me when you turn around and you realize your team is not behind you, that your team is not there, that all you can see is the back of the heads as they run back onto the car deck. And don't be there when your team suddenly you have a crisis, whether it's a cash crisis, whether it's a delivery crisis, any type of crisis, and you need your team to work together and to pull together and to work as one complete team. Don't wait till then to find out that one member or 2 members of the team are the wrong people. And this is one of the things we do in our crisis management workshops with management teams and with teams, is we give them a scenario where they all have to work together and bring a certain amount of things to the party and to the day and to the workshop. And it becomes apparent after a while who are the ones that are not working together, not singing out the same hymn sheet, are not helping the culture of the company, and are not helping you as the boss get to where you want to get to. So, and that's the idea of these crisis management workshops, is to show up the weaknesses. And some of the weaknesses can be fixed. They can be fixed by maybe giving people more responsibility, or explain to people the responsibility you have, or taking responsibility of the people. But they can be fixed. And I've gone into companies where we have found holes where we had to fix. Sometimes fixing that hole is painful. Sometimes it's only tweaking things here and there to make everything work. Right? But really you only see how people operate on your behalf under pressure. And when that pressure comes and they fail, that's not when you wanted to fail. You wanted to be able to see the weaknesses well before that, before you have a crisis, before you have a product that you have to recall, before you have a customer that the service you delivered, you've made a mess of it. Before you have a customer writing stuff on Facebook or Instagram or some social media about your business and you're trying to control that, or before customers find out that you're charging them all different prices. When all these crises happen, you need to make sure your management team is strong, focused on the business and working all together. And that's why our crisis management workshops show who are working together and who are not working together. So when you're looking for someone senior for your management team, just be careful. Be careful of who you're picking. Be careful when you go to interview them that you just don't decide after one interview. And you're better off interviewing a few people so you can weigh them up against other people's skills and credibility and what every different people bring to the party, right? And then when you think you have the right person, bring someone else in, like the HR director or another member of the management team, into the interview, or a board member. If you have a board, if your company is big enough to have a board of directors, bring someone else into the interview so you can get a second or third opinion on, is your gut instincts right? Is this the right person for the company? Because we all hear of people, oh, they're bringing in loads of business for company A, or they're bringing in loads of business for company B. And you go and try and poach them. And you bring them into your business and you suddenly realize, well, they may be bringing business in, but you don't like their style. You don't like the way they treat customers. You don't like their culture. You don't like the way they're treating the rest of your staff or talking to your staff. You don't like the way they're even treating you and the way they talk back to you. So there's a cost sometimes to find the right person. The question is, what is the cost that you have to pay, and are you happy to pay that cost? And that is the thing you have to ask yourself when you're looking for a new member of your management team, or you're bringing someone in to join your company to help grow and develop that company. So that's me this morning, folks. As I said, I'm on here every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. I won't be here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. I'll be a bit later tomorrow morning because I have a prior engagement that I have to do. So I'll be about half an hour later. But so you'll still see my lovely face in the morning. You'll still hear my lovely tones talking to you. And if you listen to us on podcast later in the evening, it won't make a difference what time the show is at, because you'll be listening to her at your own convenience. So don't forget, you can find us on YouTube. We have an awful lot of free stuff on YouTube. I have an awful lot of all the previous shows. We've been doing this since the 6th of January. And so we're going over a month now. And I really am thankful for everyone who's been listening to us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for joining me and for all the comments. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll keep it going if you keep it going. If you keep looking at the shows or the replays, I'll make sure I'm here every morning giving you advice and from my own experience, and hoping that some of it will help you develop your own business and not make the mistakes I make, and take the stuff that worked for me and make it work for you that will help develop your business. And if you do have any questions, about your business, or you want to have a cup of coffee with me to discuss something about your business, simply markbeggs@gmail.com. Email me, markbeggs@gmail.com, and I will meet up with you for a cup of coffee if you have something to discuss or something you want to run by, or get off your chest, or something you're not sure about, or something's bothering you, and you've no one else to say it to, and you've no one else to talk to. I will meet you for a cup of coffee and we can discuss that. Anything you tell me dies with me. Okay? I tell nobody. It drives people up the wall, but I tell nobody. Okay? And that's the simple fact of the matter. I'm even it's more secure than a priest. Okay? So if you do need any help, any advice, markbeggs@gmail.com. And we're going to be ending the show now on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. And don't forget, our YouTube handle is @MindsEyeEducation. Do subscribe to it. Costs you nothing. We have a lot of free stuff up there. We're putting more free stuff up there, not only about business, but about dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, all that type of stuff. And also, Anne-Marie now on the Paragraph Challenge has launched the Identity Edge, especially for women. And the Identity Edge is now having their first masterclass on the 16th of February. So you get all the information there on mindseyeeducation.com. All right, have a great day, folks. Take care of yourself.